Hey everybody, so for people who've never seen this channel before, you probably have no idea that I've never shown off all of this before, but it's something I've been thinking about doing for some of these shorter reviews, so just bear with me and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I saw Black Panther and I really liked it a lot. I definitely think it's Marvel's best movie, and it might even be my favorite superhero movie since The Dark Knight, but Logan is kind of somewhere in the middle, so I'm not too sure. Directed and written by Ryan Coogler, this movie feels very grounded and intimate and personal. So I don't know if you guys know this, but he actually, before Creed came out, he was talking about one of the reasons he made that movie was the emotional connection he had with that movie and his father. And that kind of personal connection is felt here. This movie is very much so about T'Challa trying to figure out how to live up to his father's legacy. We saw him die in Civil War. This movie is very proudly African, so things like the ancestral plane and your ancestors looking down on you and you kind of looking down on the next generation it's a big thing, and it's very family driven and it's very duty driven to try and do the best thing for Wakanda. And King T'Challa, played wonderfully by Chadwick Boseman, wants to do what's right for his people, and it's hard for him.
Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
Well, the movie was called Black Panther. It could have just have easily been called something like The World of Wakanda, because all of the characters around him and the world around him was just as interesting as the main character. He's king, but he's a king because he has these advisors, these different advisors around him. My favorite character in the movie is probably his younger sister, honestly, Shuri. She's very smart, she's very funny, she's the chief scientist for Wakanda, so without her, this civilization wouldn't thrive, and without her, T'Challa wouldn't have his kind of upgraded Black Panther suit. So nothing in this world that we see would be possible without her. And honestly, she's probably smarter than Tony Stark. It's really cool to see that, and I'm willing to bet she will somehow take over for Iron Man in the future, because there's no way Robert Downey Jr. Is going to be able to get $50 million for another 10 movies or something like that. They want a cheaper option, and look at this. Like, this already exists in the comics, and Disney wants to do this on the big screen. It's so attractive. Everything in this movie kind of comes back to establishing characters and this world, and it's so proudly African. The costumes, the set design, it's so colorful. There's a great mix of traditional garb and traditional architecture with these kind of modern influences, kind of very Afro-futuristic. And it's awesome to see. You also have kind of the mixture of the tribal kind of lip plates and the rings, and the fashion is very influenced by tribes that are still alive today, and it's so awesome to see. The music, we've got a great mix of very tribal influenced music, where you see these great vistas and great scenes in Wakanda, kind of intermixed with Kendrick Lamar's soundtrack during some of the more action-packed scenes, and everything just works and flows together so well. And one of the problems with so many of these Marvel movies is the villain, and Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger here it's so easy to empathize with him. He's so understandable, and he's so motivated from a very personal place. He's not out there trying to destroy the world. He's out there trying to help people like him. He's out there trying to help people that have felt subjugated for centuries and for years, because he understands that Wakanda has it so good, and he thinks this kind of radical revolution is a good idea. And it's so interesting to watch this unfold, because he's the villain of the movie, but it's really hard to call him a bad guy. He does bad actions to kind of further his goals and try and get closer to realizing them, but he's coming from a very understandable place, a place of trying to do good for people. He's trying to help people, and he's just not coming about it from maybe the best way, and certainly T'Challa doesn't think it's the best way, so that's where a lot of this conflict comes from. And there's that natural kind of progression and the battle of ideas, but that's it. It's a battle of ideas. It's not a battle of exploding lasers and destroying giant cities. No, this is a very subtle, very intimate movie. And even when the hero and the bad guy are fighting at the end of the movie, it never feels overdone. It never feels blown out. Everything just works. Even with Infinity War right around the corner, this movie was very much so its own self-contained story. There was a little bit of a flashback to Civil War, and stay for the after credit scenes for the obligatory Marvel future line, but it was a great just self-contained story, and it worked well, and I'm very hopeful that Ryan Coogler will come back to the Marvel universe and craft a great sequel, because I think it's a very personal story for him, and I think he can do a great job with this. Now, having said all this, I really can't imagine Infinity War topping Black Panther. This is such a great movie. It's such a grounded story with very believable, motivated characters, and the final battle wasn't oh, we're gonna destroy or save the world. It was so emotional, and the stakes were so close to home, and the ramifications of it matter. And you can see these characters change and grow throughout the movie, and that's all I can really ask for. I'm sure Infinity War is going to be great, but at this point, I'm more excited for Black Panther 2 to see how King T'Challa and the cast of characters around him in Wakanda are going to change and grow in the years to come, because it's a great, interesting new corner of the Marvel Universe, and I can't wait to see it again. Hopefully that wasn't too bad, everybody. This was kind of the first time I did this. Like I said, I have some kind of poor lighting, and you can see into my room. It's whatever. Here's my prized possession right here. So, there you go. Thank you for watching.